Welcome and happy Sunday. In today's message, Reverend Jen Rosson reflects on how to navigate the noise, the haste, and the potholes of life with more peace, compassion, and spiritual maturity. Inspired by the timeless poem Desiderata and the turning of the seasons into spring, she'll explore how to meet life's challenges without losing ourselves to fear, comparison, or despair. Instead, we'll learn to breathe, recalculate our path, and nurture strength of spirit in a world that can feel chaotic and uncertain. Inspiration sparks and raises our vibration, encouraging all of us to live our best lives. It is my pleasure to welcome our speaker for this evening, Jen Rosson. Jen is an ordained minister and endeavors to be an inspiration to those she serves. She is Vice President of SCOA and Director of the Spiritual Expression Center. A warm Harmony Harbor welcome to Jen.
Today's inspirational reading is a poem written by American writer Max Ehrmann, published in 1927. In this lyric prose type poem titled Desiderata, Latin for things desired, Ehrmann advocates for the living of a balanced, peaceful, and compassionate life. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful and strive to be happy. Well, happy Sunday, everybody. I hope spring has sprung, has found you wherever you are. I know Darren was telling us about tornadoes before we started, but here in Oregon, everything's turning green and blooming. Maybe Mother Nature is trying to cheer up some of the doom and gloom that seems to be percolating all around us these days. We humans are certainly tested during our incarnation here on planet Earth, aren't we? Historically, humanity seems to inherently travel the road with the most potholes. Some days, I think our GPS needs to pause and make a major recalculation. Or maybe not. Maybe this is what the human experience is all about. I don't know. Our individual reactions to the bumps and construction zones life throws in our way is part of our personal responsibility as an individual and a reflection of our spiritual maturity and evolution. Do we lose our minds and roll around like toddlers having a tantrum every time something obstructs our path? Not to say that that might not be an inappropriate reaction on occasion, but not as a habit. Or instead, do we take a deep breath, reflect, and recalculate a new path with discernment and intention? I read a book recently about a group of women on a retreat, and one of the classes that they had attended in the course of this book was about the philosophy of Stoicism and its four pillars. I was familiar with the word or the term stoic, which, refers to one's calmness when facing adversity or loss. But the philosophic history of Stoicism, I did not have a lot of knowledge about. So down the rabbit hole of research I went. As it turns out, Stoicism is one of those quiet ideas or traditions that has endured over time and place. It's a philosophy that allows its adherents to face uncertainty, to navigate hardship, and to cultivate a grounded life with resilience and purpose. The historical record assigns the birth of Stoicism to an ancient Greek named Zeno of Citium around 300 BCE. After surviving a catastrophic shipwreck, he was searching for meaning after such a great loss of life and property. And he turned to philosophy, eventually becoming a teacher himself. He was known to stand at these public colonnades that were known as the Stoa Poikol, or the painted porch. And this is where Stoicism gets its name. He told his students that the purpose of life was not to escape difficulties, but to meet them with steadiness, living a life in accordance with nature. Other Greek philosophers like Epictetus and Seneca, as well as the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, continued to evolve Zeno's ideas. And although each had a very different worldly experience, they came to realize the fundamental truth of the Stoic philosophy, that the quality of a human's inner world has a dramatic effect on one's experience in the outer world at large. At the heart of Stoicism are its four core virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These four ethical ideals are often referred to as pillars, not because they're meant to be rigid and inflexible, but because they support the foundation for a grounded life. We can't acquire them through external accolades or achievements. They have to be cultivated internally through moment by moment interactions with the world all around us. In Stoicism, wisdom is not just about having or acquiring knowledge, It's the ability to perceive people and events with clarity and understanding, to have discernment, to determine what is within our individual control, and to then act in alignment with truth instead of impulse. Today, we live in a world saturated with information 24/7. Wisdom acts as our filtering system, allowing us to question assumptions and to choose an action with deliberate intention. Epictetus is quoted as saying, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is not a denial of pain or difficulty, but a reminder that our interpretation of events shapes our experiences of those events. Wisdom is the virtue that helps filter fact from fiction, allowing us to take responsibility for our subsequent actions. The second pillar, courage, is not literal fearlessness, but rather the willingness to move forward in spite of any fear we may have. It's the strength to face discomfort or vulnerability without retreating into denial or avoidance. Courage shows up not only in the dramatic moments of life, but also in the quiet moments, like when we choose to speak our truth when it would be easier to stay quiet, or when we choose to look for avenues of continued growth when the status quo seems to be a safer and more stable choice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Courage helps us to make smart choices with our responses to a seemingly uncontrollable world. Justice is the third pillar, and it extends Stoicism beyond the individual mandate of wisdom and courage into the realms of relationships with other humans. Through justice, we recognize that we aren't isolated beings, but part of the entirety of humanity. It calls for fairness and compassion for actions that benefit the common good. Justice asks individuals to conduct themselves with integrity, whether it benefits them or not. Every interaction of every day on this plane of existence is an opportunity for kindness and ethical living. Justice is practiced in how we speak, in how we listen, and how we treat each other, especially when no one else is listening or watching. The fourth pillar, temperance, is most simply stated as the art of balance. And as with so many things simply stated, it's more difficult in execution than in saying that. Moderation, self-discipline, and the ability to regulate our own desires can be a difficult ask in a culture where more consumption, more stimulation, more distractions seem to be the rule of the day. Temperance offers the counterpoint of intentionality, encouraging questions that lead to clarity, like, how much is enough? What truly adds value to my life? What is simply filling up space? Temperance allows us to make the conscious choice between compulsive patterns and fleeting impulses versus those that truly align with our deeper values. These four pillars work in harmony with one another, and they form the foundational framework for a practical, profound life experience. This philosophy doesn't promise an easy life, but it does offer stability. Suffering isn't brought to an end, but our relationship to it can be transformed. In this way, Stoicism becomes more than an inherited ancient philosophy. It becomes a form of and a partner to modern spirituality, one not reliant on dogmas or doctrines, but on the internal cultivation of a calm, discerning, and balanced heart. If there's one thing we can be sure of in this incarnation, it's the knowledge that uncertainty and change is inevitable. Our modern society is surrounded by forces beyond our individual control. Global events, economic shifts, so many more. All of them making Stoicism more relevant than ever. The Stoic distinction between what is within our individual control and what is not is crucial for navigating the complex world around us. This doesn't signify passive acceptance. It encourages a redirection from futile resistance to active engagement, acknowledging that while we can't control the world, we can control our response to it. This is the intersection with personal responsibility, when we are empowered with a sense of agency in the moment. Personal responsibility in this context means taking ownership of thoughts and choices and the subsequent actions. It's the recognition that while we may not be responsible for events happening all around us, we are responsible for how we respond to them. And this can be a dramatic change of perspective, both challenging and liberating in nature. The comfort of blaming someone else is removed, but the limitations that blame creates are also discharged. The philosophy of Stoicism doesn't expect perfection in these regards. All humans will falter. We all act impulsively on occasion, and we struggle mightily in others. It's never about not ever failing, but instead about returning over and over to self-awareness, to intention, and to realignment with the four pillars. Like our soul's eternal journey, the Stoic pursuit is a process, not a destination. In this way, Stoicism has the ability to encompass a much broader, non-denominational spirituality, one that emphasizes presence, mindfulness, and self-awareness. A practice that encourages reflection instead of ritual, practice instead of dogma. A philosophy that has the ability to meet the individual where they are, regardless of culture, location, or belief system. Picture a typical day in the life of any individual human. A moment of frustration arises, and the habitual response might be anger or blame. Stoicism reminds us to pause, to ask, is this within my control? If not, can I accept it? If it is within my control, what is the most wise, courageous, just, and balanced response I can offer? This subtle shift of a momentary pause has the ability to reshape the way we move through the world. This pause for reflection creates an inner stability that isn't dependent on external validation. It allows us to remain grounded with quiet confidence in the face of change. The unforeseen can be met with intention and integrity. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journals, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This is not a simplistic call to positive thinking, but a deeper invitation to examine the patterns of mind that shape your experience. It is an acknowledgement that your inner dialogue matters, that it can either support or undermine your well-being. The philosophy of Stoicism isn't a panacea for all of life's problems, but it does offer the sustainable capacity to maneuver through difficulty with clarity and purpose. Every challenge presents an opportunity to practice the four pillars in everyday life. We live in a time when many of us are seeking guidance and answers beyond what traditional doctrines have provided in the past. Stoicism offers a path that is both ancient in heritage and contemporary in application. Conversion and certainty aren't required, only attention and willingness to see each moment as an occasion to embody those four pillars of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's within this kind of quiet consistency that the true power of Stoicism resides. The daily choices we make while practicing this philosophy accumulate. They're cumulative in nature. Over time, they shape our character and create a life that is not defined by external validation, but by internal alignment with the divine. There's a freedom to be found here, a freedom that arises from within, and how we meet ambiguity with determination and intentionality. Perhaps the deepest spiritual offering of Stoicism is this: nothing essential has ever been outside of us. The clarity we seek, the strength we admire, the peace we all long for, none of these are distant ideals, but rather inner capacities waiting for our attention. Through embracing Stoicism's four pillars, choosing wisdom over impulse, courage over avoidance, justice over indifference, and balance over excess, we don't become someone new. We uncover something ancient within ourselves, and life seems less like something that is happening to us and more like something we are consciously participating in. Moment by moment, day by day, year after year, a path slowly unfolds, leading not away from life and all of its complications, but leaning more fully into it. Within that clarity lies a quiet sense of belonging, of being in right relationships with ourselves, with others, and with the unfolding rhythm of existence itself. May the divine source bless and keep you, and thank you for allowing me to serve Harmony Harbor today. Blessings.
Join us every Sunday at Harmony Harbor Spiritual Center, your weekly sacred hour of upliftment. Are you ready to nourish your soul and reconnect with the divine essence within and around you? Harmony Harbor Spiritual Center invites you to our cherished weekly gathering, a sacred online hour dedicated to soothe the spirit, awakening inner peace, and celebrating our shared connection with the eternal life source. What to expect? Beautiful music to lift your heart, inspiring spiritual messages and reflections. All are welcome, no matter your background, beliefs, or where you are on your spiritual journey. Come as you are. Every Sunday, 4 p.m. Central, via Zoom. Whether you're seeking comfort, inspiration, or simply a moment of sacred community in today's busy world, Harmony Harbor is here for you. Reserve your spot today. Look for our Eventbrite link in the YouTube description.